Alright, we are back with more Raging Loop. Last time we played, there were a lot of murders. A lot of people died. And, I think we were 14. I think we're down to 7 now. I think even less. So, we'll see how it goes. So, 5, prepare for the feast when the evening mists arrive. The action rhyme they did was obviously referring to the feast of the Yomi Purge. I couldn't remember all the lyrics, but I felt like there was quite a lot of info there. So chat, how are you finding Raging Loop so far? I hope there's more to it. Because so far it just feels like a game of Werewolves. So I hope there's gonna be big twists. Otherwise, I'm kind of disappointed. Are we winning? Well, we're still alive somehow, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna die soon. We haven't died in a while. Perhaps there were more hints for the feast in the Yasumitsu culture in general area. I felt that I had to talk to Rikako Uematsu. She was an adult who seemed more involved in Fujiyoshi's prayers and stuff than most. I needed to arm myself with more info by tomorrow morning. Can't wait for our waifu to be the werewolf. It's looking more than likely that it's her. That, along with the proper progression of the feasts, are my only ways to survive. About today's feast. They must have decided to hang the wolf guy because they just didn't care about him all that much, simple as. Sure, it was important to get rid of the participants who weren't cooperative. However, the fact that we've lost 6 people and they still hadn't gone beyond he or she is kind of shady was pretty bad. Yesterday, they wouldn't have hung anyone for such a petty reason. Well, the problem was that they hadn't hung anyone at all so far. But then again, it wouldn't be a good thing to give the impression that it was okay to kill people just for seeming shady. This place was regressing back to a feudal, superstitious mental state. If there was something that could stop them from sinking there, it would be an outsider like me. I steeled my resolve and waited for the night to pass. Good evening. I was so startled by the voice on the other side of the door that I momentarily screamed. What time was it? 7? It was too early for an attack and too late to walk around. What's wrong with you? Aren't you gonna get punished if you don't sleep?
I think
another hour is fine. I was awake until 8 yesterday and nothing happened. I've been sleeping too much, honestly. I'm not tired, but I'm really, really hungry. Don't you have your food stocks? Well, with Kaori being, well, you know, I decided not to touch it, but share it with the others. We're all hungry today, so I'll just tough it out. How upstanding. You should eat, though.
昼のやついや、やめとく。ところで何の用？
But the stuff from before, nah, I'll pass. You here anyway.
だから気を紛らわせるために。
Can't sleep?
本当にそれだけ？
Is that really it?
春明さん、私のこと疑ってる？
Haruaki, do you suspect me?
いや、
No.
なんで？
Why?
猿のことを言ったから。自分でちゃんと理解した上で。
Because you told them about the monkeys, knowing full well what it meant.
ん？
読み意味の宴は非常によくできたコミュニケーションゲームだ。
The Feast of the Yomi Purge is a well-constructed communication game.
よくできたって？
Well-constructed?
コミュニケーション以外の方法でゲームに勝つことをほとんど封じてるって意味だけど、近持くんも言ってたよ。
I mean, there's no way to win this game beyond communication. Chikamochi thought the same thing.
これに勝つには人も狼もコツというか独自のセオリーを要する。
To win, both the humans and the wolves need to have some tricks and individual strategies.
猿もその一つだ。何の役に立つか分かりづらいけど、実はいきなり容疑者を2名も減らせるわけだ。
Consider the monkeys. They seem useless at first, but you can use them to easily eliminate 2 suspects.
これは1日目から可能だから、猿は安全なリーダーになれる。モッチーとメイコには厳しそうだけど。
And this is possible from day one, so they can become reliable leaders. Though that would be hard for Mochi and Meiko.
そうだね。自由人とお子様じゃな。
Yeah, he was a free spirit, and she's a child.
一方で、狼はどちらかといえば受け身なセオリーになるんだと思う。
The wolves, on the other hand, have to go on the defensive.
怪しいだけでくくられる状況下では、あくまで怪しまれないことが重要になるわけだが、これは結構難しい。
In a situation when being suspicious is enough to get you hanged, it's important not to draw attention to yourself. It's easier said than done, though.
そうだね。黙ってても雄弁でも怪しく見えるときは見えるし。
Yeah, keeping your silence can be just as suspicious as being a blabbermouth.
そうだね。ただ、ごく初期の段階でも信用と不信を分ける2つの要素がある。
Exactly, but there are 2 factors that make it easy to gauge trustworthiness right from the very start.
それが猿のことに関係するの？
Do they have something to do with monkeys?
ああ、要は間違った誘導をすることと有用な提言をしないことだ。
Yeah, you have to watch out for those who give bad advice or don't provide useful suggestions.
間違った誘導については、例えば間違った計算でみんなを煙に巻いた清之助氏あたりは結構怪しい。
A good example of the former is Kiyonosuke. His poor planning threw everything into disarray. And that makes him really sus.
でも彼は人確定でしょ？
But he's confirmed to be human.
その通り。まあ匠さんがヘビってのが嘘じゃないって仮定の上の話だけど。
Right, well that's assuming Takumi wasn't lying about being the snake.
嘘だって可能性あるの？
Huh? You're saying he could be lying?
ゼロじゃないさ。だって加護を受けたかどうかなんて口ではいくらでも言える。
It's not impossible. After all, anyone can say they have a guardian.
というか、例えば僕が狼なら何人か殺した後で適当な加護者を名乗って安全な座席を確保するね。
Honestly, if I were a wolf, I'd lay low until I killed a few, then claim to have a guardian to ensure my safety.
なるほど。でも匠兄ちゃんは初日にいきなり名乗ったよ。
You see, but Takumi came out on the first day.
そうなんだよな。自殺行為に近いけど結果雲に守られることを考えれば痛みを伴う有効打だったのかな。
Yeah, that was basically suicidal, but since that allows the spider to protect him, it's like a telling blow that hurt the attacker, I think.
ともかく確かにそうなると匠さんと清之助氏は信頼していいと思う。
Anyway, all things considered, I'd say it's safe to trust Takumi and Kiyonosuke.
さらに僕の中では猿の使い方についてちゃんと発信した。君もね。
Personally, I think you're trustworthy too, since you spoke up about the monkeys.
春明さんのその意図を見抜いて黙ってるのを諦めたのかもよ。
What if I only did it because I saw your game?
おお、 それは困るな。
Oh, that would be bad.
ということは猿のことを教えてくれた時点ではちえみのこと疑ってたってことですよな。
Wait, hold on. Aren't you basically saying that you suspected me until I spoke up about the monkeys?
あ、気づいた。
Oh, you noticed.
なんつう男、好感度だ。
This goddamn guy. What the hell, man?
信じたかったからカマかけたんだよ。
I did it because I wanted to believe you.
回復。
All right then. I forgive you then.
ということは一番怪しいのは誰？
So who's the most sus one?
はるちゃん。
Haru.
やっぱりか。
Thought so.
さすがにちょっと説明になってないし、2日目で態度が変わった理由も実の祖父を殺したからで説明できる。
She's not making much sense lately, and you can explain her shift in personality by assuming it's because she killed her granddad.
あるいは他の狼の肝臓師を殺す決定に同意できず、誰も信用できなくなったとかね。
Or maybe she couldn't agree with the other wolf on their decision to kill Kanzo and stop trusting anyone. Hey there, fish. How was the stream? How you doing?
ああ、確かにありそう。
Oh, that would make sense. You could make up 1,000 reasons like this, though. We couldn't go by just by that. They said Haru hadn't gathered many votes, but they treated her like some kind of pariah, making it clear that everyone suspected her. It was only natural to use the snake to check on her.
彼女はそんなにゲームとか得意じゃなさそうだから、有用な提言をしないの原則で判断するのはかわいそうだけど。
Though she doesn't seem all that good at games and stuff, it probably wasn't fair to judge her purely on not making any useful contributions.
それで言うなら、安永くんの方がもっと怪しい。
In that regard, Yasu is way more suspicious.
でもヤスくんいっぱいいろいろ言ったよ。日数計算が間違ってることとか。
But he did say a lot, like pointing out my math was incorrect.
それに今春明さんが言ったようなことも言ってた。何もしないのが間接的に狼を利しているだっけ。
And he did say something like you just said, not doing anything indirectly helps the wolves or something like that.
それに初日雲が隠れてた方がいいってことも。
Not to mention that on the first day, he suggested that the spider should hide.
そうなんだよね。
It's true. Though most of those things were minor, he was definitely contributing to the game. The first day was especially important. For the wolves, it was best to create a flow where they could just stay quiet and wait for those with guardians to out themselves. What bothered me was the fact that he wasn't the one who brought up the leader selection and the monkey thing. He was shady because he hadn't made those useful propositions. I thought he'd figure those things out a while ago, or maybe as an outsider, I had a better grasp of the situation.
となると彼はやっぱり白かな。あとはわからないね。植松里香子さんやタエさんは何考えてるかわからないし。
I guess he's innocent then. I don't know about the rest though. I can't even imagine what Rikako and Tae are thinking.
そうだね。
I know what you mean. But if you looked at the circumstances outside the feast, Rikako Uematsu was pretty shady. It always felt like she was hinting at something. It wouldn't have surprised me if she knew more than she let on. If she was a village head, she could know things only those from Kami Fujiyoshi knew. And there were... Oh. No! What am I doing? If only we could follow that lead and solve this whole thing, it would make things way easier.
春明さんさ、現状を楽しんでない？
Haruaki, are you enjoying this?
ないよ。
No.
でもこういうミステリーみたいなのって好きそう。
But you look like the type who likes mystery stories.
それは否定しないけど、さすがに自分や大事な人の命がかかっている時に楽しむ気分にはなれないな。
I won't deny that, but I can't really enjoy myself when people I care about and I are in danger.
それこそ探偵を気取ってみても 素人には何も分かりはしない。無力感だけさ。
If I did act like some master detective, I'd really just be some useless amateur. Wouldn't accomplish anything.
あんまりそうは見えないな。
I'm not sure I buy that.
なぜこんなに疑われているの？
他のみんなボロボロだよ。普通の人はああやって平常心を失っていくもんだと思う。
Everyone else is a mess. I think most normal people would lose it in this kind of
それ
situation.
は君についても言えるんじゃない？
I could say the same about you.
私も普通じゃないですし。
I'm not exactly normal either.
そういえば人を殺しかけたとか聞いたけど。
Oh yeah, I heard you almost killed someone.
誰かな、バラしたのは。
Who told you that?
それは秘密。まあそんなに悪意のある感じには聞こえなかったけど。
It's a secret, though it didn't sound intentional. Well, how do I say it?
なんと言いますか。中学の時かな。安水の子らをいじめてた分校の上級生らをバットでボッコボッコ。
I think it happened in middle school. I grabbed a bat and beat up some students who were bullying the Yasumisu kids.
うわ。
Whoa.
その中に長者の筋のやつもいたから大騒ぎになっちゃってね。まあそれで年が上の人たちは私に厳しいんだ。
Some of them were connected to the head families, so it became a big deal, and that's basically why the adults here are so harsh on me.
なるほど。正義の武闘派ってわけだ。
I see, so you fight out of a sense of justice. So she was sent to Yasumisu for making enemies out of the village heads.
いやーまあ単に血の気が多くて問題を起こしたかっただけですよ。
I wouldn't say that. It's more like I have a short temper and wanted to make a scene.
反抗期？
Rebellious phase?
そんな感じ。はるちゃんやよしくんと同じよ。こんな田舎だとやすくんみたいにまっすぐ育つ方が珍しいんじゃない？
More or less, same as Haru and Yoshi. In a place as rural as this, it's rare for children to grow up as level-headed as Yasu, don't you think?
そうかな。ひねた都会よりも健全で素直な子に育ちそうだけど。
Really? I'd think they'd be healthier and nicer than the edgy brats from the city.
言い直す。こんなに貧しいとだわ。
Let me rephrase that. In a place as poor as this. Well, there was no doubt that Yasumisu was destitute. There were no cars, cell phones, and it didn't even feel like it had an economy. They probably lived mostly off land, making money from whatever they could spare from their farms and hunts, since they had no decent way to sell stuff to anyone outside. Most of their business had to be done through Kami Fujiyoshi. It was entirely likely that they were ripping them off. There's no way this place could be wealthy in these circumstances. I didn't believe money could buy everything, but poverty took its toll on the people suffering it. Some could live in poverty while retaining their purity, but that was borderline saintly. It was a lifestyle too difficult for the common masses. Also, since the people of Yasumisu were ostracized from Kami Fujiyoshi, they were targets of unjust pressure from day one. I could understand why the children here strayed from the path. Though, when you looked at it like that, the way they strayed was so mild it was almost cute.
今度こそ引いた？
Are you disturbed now?
いや、別に。
Not really.
嘘だ。いざとなったらドンキ持ち出すような女。内心ドン引きでしょ？ドンキだけに。
You're lying. You now think I'm so blunt I'd whip out a blunt object to beat you up. Just gonna ignore that poor attempt at a pun, sorry.
前の彼女もそんなだったし。
My ex wasn't any different. Oh? Oh, I see.
そうなんだ。
なぜか動揺されてしまった。
You seem confused and I have no idea why.
彼女さんと別れたって実は？
You weren't lying when you said you broke up with your girlfriend.
嘘だと思われてたのか。
You thought I was?
正直ナンパの口実かと。
I thought it was just some kind of pickup line.
ひで。それはもう身の危険を感じるレベルの大喧嘩を経て破局しましたよ。
That's just mean. Our breakup was insane. I actually felt like my life was in danger.
うはー、それはご愁傷様。
Whoa, sorry to hear that.
君の方は？
What about you? Huh?
男性遍歴。僕は言ったんだから君も言うべきじゃない？
Your history with guys. I shared mine, so hearing yours is only fair, right? Well, pull up a chair, Haruaki. It's gonna take a while.
まあその
Yeah, well,
実際に付き合ったのは何人なんですか？
how many did you go out with?
2人かな。
Two, I guess?
知恵ねえはモテモテで53人切りの超絶ビッチだって話はどこへ行った？
What happened to you being a hyper slut who's done it with 53 guys?
そこまで言ってない。多少持ったのは認めるが、実際大学で各種お誘いはいっぱいもらってますけども。
I never said that. I did exaggerate a bit, but I did get tons of invitations.
なのに二人ぽっちなんだ。
And
付き
yet,
合った人。
you only went out with two.
まああんまり会う人っていなくてさ。
Well, I didn't find many guys I got along with.
僕は？
What about me?
これ以上やめとこうよ。期待したら死ぬのが怖くなる。
Let's not go any further. If I let myself get too attached, I'd be too scared of dying.
死ぬのが怖いのは当然じゃない？
Being afraid of death is normal, though, isn't it?
別に
Not really.
どうして？
Why?
死ぬより神様の方が怖い。
God is way scarier than death.
君の言う神様は一般にイメージするそれと違うよね。
Are we gonna fight God at the end of this? Is this a JRPG? I feel like you have a very unusual image of God.
どこが？
Really?
それは何やら恐ろしいもので実際に会えるものなんだろう？
You think of it as something frightening that you might actually meet, right?
みんな神様には会ってるよ。見えていないのかもしれないけど。
Everyone has met God. Maybe they just can't see it.
それに神様は怖いよ。
And God is really scary.
怖さを知らないだけ。
It's just that no one knows how.
僕も見えてない。
Myself
知ら
included?
ないだけ。
あなただけはわからない。
You're the only one I don't understand.
だから私は
That's probably why
失うのは
I'm afraid of losing you.
そんな言葉、永遠の愛を誓った相手にでも言えばいい。
That's something you say to those you promise your eternal love to.
怒った？
Are you mad?
ちょっとね。
A bit.
そっか。
I see.
この段になっても思わせぶりなだけで何の手の内も開示しないのは火遊びが過ぎるんじゃないの？
You've gotten this far and you're still being cagey regarding your own background. You can only take playing hard to get so far until it gets annoying.
私もどうすればいいのかわからないし迷ってるんだよ。
I'm just not sure what to do. This isn't easy for me either.
全部話してみればいい。
Tell me everything.
もう帰るね。
I'm going back.
ちえみ。
Chiemi?
おやすみ。
Good night. What the hell? When'd she talk? Did she still not trust me? Was she just messing with me? Was she just kind of crazy? Or was it something else? I wanted to chase her down and get a real answer out of her, but I was locked in. It was so frustrating. Though this wasn't the time to worry about that. Who would the wolves go for tonight? The wolf guy was dead, meaning there was one less person who'd vote Chiemi out tomorrow. It wasn't likely she'd get top vote. It was best to think that the wolves would go for someone who was useful to the humans and couldn't get killed with the votes. That meant she and Yasunaga were the ones at highest risk. On the other hand, their survival would make things difficult. In other ways, I'd probably be forced to consider the possibility that they themselves were wolves. Could I really trust Chiemi? I feel I could, but not completely. Whatever the case, a situation where the more talkative ones were seen as suspicious would make it harder for her to survive. Should I have talked to her about running away? No, that was probably pointless. I didn't know much about her whole god thing, but it was clear that escape wasn't even an option for her. Something scary that everyone had met, yet not fully perceivable. Was she speaking figuratively? Or could she literally see something? I don't care. I became irritated. My hunger was starting to get to me. Figuring it was better than just wasting my mental energy, I focused on taking a bath and going to bed. I had no idea just how naive my predictions would prove to be. I wake up at 5 in the morning. 5 in the a.m. The window was still boarded up, so I couldn't see anything outside. All I could do was sit around and wait. Eventually, I could hear the objects keeping me in get removed, and I was greeted by Yasunaga Oribe and Shiemi Serizawa. Those two actually survived. I met up with Haru Makishima too. Her face was pale and she had bags under her eyes. No one here looked healthy anymore, but she was beyond even that point. She'd gone completely meek too. The defiance from yesterday was gone and she was just letting Yasunaga guide her. She lost another friend after all. We arrived at the dining hall, but no one was there. The door was unlocked. That was a bad sign. It was Kanzo Makishima's place all over again. Mom should be sleeping upstairs. With that knowledge, I opened the door. What if she was attacked? Even if she wasn't, considering her state yesterday, it wasn't unlikely that she did something unthinkable, such as suicide. However, I soon found out my worries were for nothing. Kaori was standing all alone in the dark dining hall, wearing an apron. The fact that she wasn't doing anything but standing was just eerie. Oh my, good morning. She turned around and greeted us. Her voice was the only thing calm about her. Her eyes were bloodshot and signs of malnourishment were all across her face. Her faint, forced smile made her seem on the verge of collapse. She completely failed at acting normal. Her heart was probably swirling with panic and sorrow as great as yesterday. Everyone here could see it. Mom, everyone's hungry, so I'll make food, so you can just rest. Huh? But I can do it myself. Oh, I'll help. I actually cook for myself, so I know what to do. After they volunteered to support Kaori, I thought about what purpose I could serve here. Let's go. And call to Haru before going outside. She came with me, but wasn't saying a word. During yesterday's feast, she had a fight with Kaori. The woman had voted for Haru due to her change in attitude and failed escape attempt. I couldn't blame her for that. Considering her personality, I imagined that the exchange had been extremely intense. That's why putting her out of the dining hall was a good move. Problem was, we didn't really have anything to talk about. This was made worse by the hostility she'd shown me until yesterday. According to Mochi, that was a product of her affection towards Yasunaga and all the drama surrounding him. Normally, I'd playfully give her a hard time about that kind of thing. It would seem in poor taste considering the situation. She was staring daggers at me. Maybe I just had to ask her.
牧島春さん、
Haru Makishima.
何ですか？
What?
担当直入に聞くが、君は狼か？
I'll be frank, are you a wolf?
違うわよ。
No. Didn't hesitate at all, not that it meant anything.
何よ、納得いかないの？じゃあ匠兄に調べてもらうわよ。それではっきりするでしょ。
Don't believe me? Takumi will check, that'll show you.
気づいて言ってるのか？
Are you saying that despite knowing?
は？何を？
Knowing what?
彼が生きていれば、食堂で香織さんを介抱してるのは彼だったはずだ。
If he were alive, he'd be the one looking after Kaori in the dining
昨
hall.
日も彼は起きてすぐ食堂に行っていた。香織さんが弱っている今、そうすべき理由はさらに強まった。
Yesterday, he went there first thing in the morning with Kaori in her current state. That was all the more reason for him to be there, but now he's missing.
嘘でしょ。そんなこと。
No way. That's just...
それを今から調べに行くから案内して。
We'll go check to be sure. Lead the way.
分かった。
Okay.
タイバー、起きてる？
Hi, bud. You awake? Haru knocked on the door and tried to open it, but it was locked, meaning it wasn't touched. Taiba came out sooner than later. She looked pretty displeased to begin with, but upon seeing me, she displayed outright disgust. What are you doing here?
すみません。香織さんの具合が悪くて人手が足りず。
Sorry, Kaori isn't well, and we need more people.
匠はどうしたの？
Where's Takumi? We're going to check on him.
そうね。
I see. Her gloomy expression told me she realized what might have happened. She said she had to prepare, so we excused ourselves.
必要なものがあったら言ってくださいね。
Please ask if you need anything.
はい、はい、はい。
Oh yes, of course. She shut the door on us.
女なら誰にでも優しいんですね。
You're nice to all women, aren't you? What the hell was she
お
saying?
年寄りと女性を思いやるのが紳士ってものだろ。
Being considerate of elders and women is a gentlemanly thing to
知
do.
恵ねえもそうなの？
Is that how you feel about Chie?
彼女にはそれなりに好意を持ってる。
I like her quite a lot.
やめてよ。兄ちゃんがかわいそう。
Please don't. I'd feel so bad for... brother? Brother. Yasunaga, surely.
かわいそうとは？
What do you mean by that?
よし君もモッチーも死んじゃって、兄ちゃんには香織さんと知恵ねえしかいないのよ。
Yoshi and Mochi are gone. Kaori and Chie are all he has left.
それに知恵ねえは私らの中で一番強くて、上藤吉のやつらや大人たちからいつも私らを守ってくれた。
Also, she's the strongest among us. She's always protected us from the people of Kami Fujiyoshi and adults.
私らから知恵ねえを取らないでよ。
Don't take her away from us. So that's how it was. I wasn't sure how she actually felt about Chiemi, but there was definitely more trust and reliance than I expected. Yasunaga spoke like he'd given up on Chiemi, but deep down he was actually glad she returned. Haru was aware of that, and she actually liked Chiemi, so that's why she concluded that they should be together. However, it was clear she didn't feel like giving them her blessing.
君の気持ちは分かったよ。
I understand how you feel. The end result depended on Chiemi. Since she hated Yasumisu, I felt like it wouldn't be something Haru wanted. Then again, I really didn't know what was going on in Chiemi's head either, and I had no idea who'd survive. So making predictions was a waste of
と
time.
にかく今は宴を終わらせるという一点に集中すべきだ。
For now, everyone should focus on ending the
僕には
feast.
大したことができないかもしれないが、身内に話しづらいことでもあれば 相談には乗るよ。
I don't think I can do much, but if there's something you don't want to tell your own, I'm willing to listen.
何それ？
Huh? What do you mean?
いや、何ってこともないけど、君は悩みが多そうだし、
Nothing much. It just feels like you have a lot to worry
あ
about.
と、外に逃げるって選択、僕はまだありだと思ってるから。
And personally, I still think that escaping outside is a good idea.
それは無理よ。
It's not possible.
君は可能性にかけて逃げたんじゃないのかい？
Didn't you try it yourself?
でも逃げられなかったじゃない。
But I failed, didn't I? Made me realize we can't escape.
それはたまたま怪我をしたからじゃ。
Isn't that because you just happened to hurt your
た
foot?
またまなんかじゃない。
It didn't just happen.
君も神様を信じてるのか？
Do you believe in God too?
何を聞いた？
What did you just say?
そんなものいない。そう考えなきゃやってられない。
If God doesn't exist, if I doubted that, I just couldn't cope with anything. There was a weird aura around her for a second, but then she walked away, leaving me no choice but to follow her. Oh, the sheep is here. We arrived at the houses. The mysterious girl was on the verge of crying.
おはよう。どうしたの？
What's wrong?
はっきり喋りなさいよ。喋れるでしょ？あん
Speak
た。
normally. You know how to, right?
大人げないな。はい。おはようございます。
Come on, be more mature. Repeat after me. Good morning. Baba. This was hopeless. Haru glared at her while I stayed patient.
リカコさんは？
Where's Rikako-san?
お姉ちゃん
うん。どこ？
Yeah, where is she?
出てこない。
She hasn't come out.
ここよ。あいつの家。
Her house is right there. Really was. I've been there yesterday. I knocked and called out to her. There was no response. Haru and I looked at each other. I tried opening the door. It was locked.
リカコさん。
Kako? No response. I hesitantly put my ear against the door. I heard some sort of rustling
多
sound.
分着替え中か何かだろ
Probably getting dressed.
じゃあやっぱり
Then he really did.
う。まだわからない。まだ清之助しかもしれない。
We don't know for sure. It still could be Kiyonosuke.
私がどうしたと？
What about me? Well, I did expect him to live.
リカコさんは大丈夫かね？
あなたはそれ
Is
ばっかり。
Rikako-san well?
一応大
She's
丈夫
all
そう
you
です
care
よ。
about, isn't she?
まだ出てきてないですが、どうかしたんですか？
And yes, she does seem alright. She's not out yet, though. I wonder what's up.
嫌な予感がしてな。杞憂ならいい。しかしそうなると、死んだのは山脇老人か。
I had a bad feeling about something. Good to see it was nothing. Does this mean the one to die was Lady Yamawaki?
タイバーは生きてた。
Aiba was
な
alive.
んだと？
What? Why was he so positive?
はるちゃんはメイコを連れて食堂へ。清之助さん、手を貸してください。
Haru, take Mako to the dining hall. Kiyonosuke, help me out. He tried to say something, but decided against it. He must have realized what happened to the one who usually would be given these annoying jobs. As expected, the door to his house was unlocked, and the reek of fresh blood was so strong you could smell it outside. I thought that was enough to help me prepare. Once I saw the source, I couldn't keep down what few contents my stomach had left. The two from the first day, Kanzo Makishima and Yoshitsugu Oribe, they lost all semblance of form to the point their corpses felt unrealistic. On the other hand, Shikamochi And the old wolf guy's corpses were far too clean. Their faces were still intact after all. However, Takumi's corpse was an even balance between ruined and intact. It was all spread out on the floor, surrounded by splashes and splotches of blood, as well as some bloody footprints, scattered brain, gray matter, bone fragments, eyes. About 60% of his face was gone, and this time the method was clear. There was a rifle lying right next to his corpse. The weapon was actually on the scene for once, and it was a gun. What did it mean? I wanted to think about that, but I was too shaken by the clear agony Takumi's death had brought him. You could see his suffering on the still present half of his face. His hands were on his head, too, to cover his face or to reach for the clearly fatal wound. He died while holding on to his shattered brain. Damn. Though fatal, the first attack hadn't killed him instantly. He could still move after it, which was a testament to his strength and willpower. His life had ended as he suffered overwhelming despair. It was written all too clearly on his death visage. My emotions bubbled and overwhelmed my thoughts, and I vomited once again. Are you okay? Yonosuke asked, clearly avoiding looking at it himself. Bring me someone who can use guns, please. I never expected you to come along. Her expression was too stern and serious for me to even say that. Takumi. She cursed and looked at the gun. This is Kanzo's rifle. She grasped its long body and picked it up. All the 5 bullets were fired. See any empty cartridges? I'll look around. Found them real quick. They were all covered in blood and flesh, but yeah, I found the metallic cylinders, all 5 of them. They were 2 meters away from the corpse, very close to one another. Either the culprit fired from there or gathered them afterwards. Look at the handle. Chiemi extended the rifle to me. I did as told. Compared to the rest of the gun, which had blood on every part, the handle was clean, like it was wiped. They removed the fingerprints? Probably. Chiemi then held it like she was about to shoot and aimed at Takumi's head body. It was fired from here. How can you tell? I mean, they had to walk to each house, so probably far off. The way the blood scattered, see how it's concentrated around here? It's the proof the culprit fired from a low angle. Yeah, also nobody goes out at night, and they have to fall asleep. Also, normal rifles can't make a huge mess unless they're fired from really close. We'll make it point blank and the stuff would get on and around the muzzle. The rifle would be even dirtier. And that's why it was natural to think that it was fired where she was standing, near the cartridges. Can you actually aim and hit something with this?
ちゃんと狙い方を知っていることと対象が動いていないこと、これが揃えば大丈夫。
As long as you know how to aim and the target isn't moving, that's all you need.
ということは銃が使えるものの
So this was done by someone who knows how to use guns.
ちなみに小銃から小生を除く、それだけ。銃って誰でも簡単に人を殺せる便利な道具なんだよ。
By the way, it's just a matter of looking at the bead through the sights. Guns are useful little toys that make murder so easy anyone can do it.
弾の装填とかはその辺の一般人に渡してすぐにできるとは思えない。
What about loading? That doesn't seem like something a layman can do, is it?
それはそうかもね。でもタイバーちゃんあたりなら撃ったことあるだろうし、休みずないで選別は無理かな。
We should probably stop dating the sus girl. What do you mean? We didn't find her vent. Like, she didn't vent yet, so it's fine. Good point. But even Taiba had experience firing a gun. Finding the culprit in Yasumisu won't be easy. This was a settlement where people went hunting. Basically, everyone here must have touched rifles before. All we could really assume was that Mako couldn't have done this.
そもそも全弾命中してるわけじゃない。どうやら1発は耳に、2発は胸と肩に。あ、ここにも弾痕。
And it's not like every bullet hit the head. One grazed the ear, one hit the chest, one hit the shoulder, and look here, a bullet hole. She pointed at a small part in the floor that was ruined.
頭部に当たったのは一発だけか。
So only one hit the head.
そうだね。もしかしたらそれは致命傷じゃなくて、胸の一発がとどめだったのかも。
Yeah, I think that wasn't. Yeah, and I think that one wasn't fatal though. It was probably the one in the chest that ended it. She looked at the body's pose and made the same conclusion as me.
ちなみになんでそんなに詳しいの？
Why do you know so much about guns?
私も狩猟免許持ってる。銃も罠も網も全部使える。
I have a hunting license. I know how to use guns, traps, and nets. I'm also a werewolf.
外ではクレー射撃何度も行ったし、それなりに慣れてるよ。
I used to do a lot of skeet shooting outside of Yasumisu. I'm pretty good with a gun.
なんとすごいな。意外な一面だ。
Damn. I didn't expect that.
まあね。
I can understand why.
いずれ戻ってここで漁師になるつもりだったの？
Did you plan to return here and become a
銃を
hunter?
持ちたかった。それだけ。
I just wanted to have a gun, that's it. She said that as if it wasn't a big deal. Is she like a dragon? Maybe. Her tone seemed kind of dangerous.
ええ。まあ、人を殺しかけたりとか。
Yes, so much so that she almost killed someone.
中学の時かな。安水の子らをいじめてた分校の上級生らをバットでボッコボッコ。
I think it happened in middle school. He grabbed a bat and beat up some students who were bullying the Yasumizu kids. What was the impression that you'd get from a girl capable of random acts of violence? Yeah, Chie is more than sus. But maybe she's a red herring. I was probably jumping to conclusions.
もう片付けてもいいかな？
Can we clean it up now?
春明さんがいいなら。
You're fine with it.
じゃあ片付ける。
Let's do it
何
then.
か分かった？
Find out anything?
一連の殺人が人間の犯行だってことに確信を持っただけ。
I'm now 100% certain that these murders were committed by people. The culprit used the gun and wiped off the fingerprints, acts that demonstrated a very human level of cunning. If we were up against something supernatural, they'd just use their mysterious powers instead. If something mysterious can be explained using mundane means, then it was caused by mundane means. It was a general rule I lived by, proven through both knowledge and first-hand experience. He could be a were herring, maybe. Supernatural powers that required carrying out occult rituals were prime examples of things it applied to. The more detailed the preparation required, the more opportunities to notice something amiss. If the relied on concealing the method, it was safe to assume the method was something mundane. Even this death wasn't caused by some kind of supernatural force. It just happened unobserved. We had people who could do it, and the methods that fit. That was the best way to look at it, right?
そうかもね。
Maybe you're right.
認めるんだ。
You agree?
多分殺してるのは私の知ってる誰かと誰か。
I do think it was done by people I know.
人と思うよ。
By actual humans.
でもそれは
But that... Didn't that go against their whole God story? I wanted to ask that, but seeing her eyes made me fall silent. Her eyes were wide and cloudy,
でもね、
but her lips let out clear words.
神様からは
No one. I looked away. I probably wanted to cover my ears too.
誰も
No one can escape God. No one can escape God. I said escape dog. I found her words so irrational it began to frighten me. I asked Chiemi to call Kyonosuke to help carry the corpse, but she insisted on doing it herself. I caved, and we began the unpleasant task. Following Takumi's example, I removed the door and placed his body on it. Chiemi and I each took an end of the door and lifted it up. It was as heavy as he looked. He was as heavy as he looked. I wouldn't have been surprised if this was too much for even two men. However, Chiemi lifted her side without letting out a single grunt of exertion. It felt like active rejection of the idea that she might even need help. We slowly began walking. Kyonosuke was outside. He was anxious about something. It didn't look like he was waiting for us, so maybe Rikaku hadn't come out yet? I couldn't afford to stop and chat. Relaxing my arms or lower body could lead me to dropping Takumi. I kept walking forward without a single word. Sighing and stopping was our sign that one of us needed to rest. Every time one of us did it, we lowered him to the ground, rubbed our aching hands, and adjusted our grips, and resumed walking. As we approached the cliff, Chiemi's expression grew darker.
匠兄ちゃんは安水で一番年の近いお兄ちゃんだったから。
Takumi was the youngest of the adults. He was like an older brother to me. I wasn't gonna ask how that mattered. I didn't see a point in questioning it. I simply nodded, continuing to play the role of audience.
昔はいっぱい遊んでくれたし、怒られた時はかばってくれた。
He played with me a lot and always protected me when the other adults got mad at me.
こんな何もない湿っぽい場所だけど、匠兄ちゃんは安水を、ここに住む人を愛してた。
There's nothing good about this humid place, but he loved Yasumisu and the people living here.
そうだね。わかるよ。
Yeah, I could tell.
まっすぐな人だった。
He was honest to a fault. Yeah.
捨てたくないよ。
I don't want to just throw him away.
ああ、当然だと思う。僕だってこんなやり方はしたくない。
Of course you don't. I don't like this
や
either.
める。このやり方にこだわりそうなのは、匠さん本人とタイさんくらいしかいないんじゃないの？
Should we stop? The only ones who'd really care about this are Takumi himself and Tae-san.
しなきゃダメ。
No, we gotta do
汚
this.
れか。
Because of the corruption? Yeah. I continued asking if she was sure, but she didn't change her mind, so we ended up throwing his body into the Saranaga. We walked through the graveyard, careful not to trip. We could now see the hanging pine through the mist. Our destination was near. We carefully closed in on the cliff and pushed the door towards it.
さよなら、匠兄ちゃん。
Bye, Takumi. Or brother Takumi. She said that right as I felt the body slide off. It was falling. I'd done this several times now, but it still made me feel empty. It would eventually hit the water, make a splash, and that would be it. Huh?
水音した？
Did you hear the water?
さあ、
Not sure.
聞き違いか？
Did we both miss it somehow?
あるいは、サラナガの底が抜けて、黄泉の国につながってるのかも。
Or maybe the bottom of the Saranaga opened up into a yawning chasm leading to Yomi.
本当にファンタジーだね。
You've got quite the imagination.
霧の向こうに何があるか、誰も知らない。
No
誰
one,
も証明できない。
no one knows what's beyond the mists. There could be anything out there.
今から降りてみせようか。
Should I go down there and take a look?
あなたは帰ってこない。
You won't return. That's how she saw the world.
戻ろう。
Let's go back. We returned to do another investigation of Takumi's house, but something strange had happened. Kiyonosuke was still in the same spot, in front of Rikako's house, waiting for her without even trying to hide his frustration.
まだ出てこないんですか？
He still hasn't come out?
まったく大丈夫そうと言ったのは君だが、どういう根拠だったのかね。
No, you're the one who said she seemed alright. What made you think that?
音がしたから。
I heard sounds.
待ってる間に、あなた自身で呼んでみればよかったんじゃないですか？
Why didn't you just call her out yourself instead of just
そんな
waiting?
ぶしつけなことができるか。
As if I could do something so rude.
なんでそんなにリカコさんにだけ気を使ってるんです？野里は上松より格上でしょうに。
Why is she the only one you're nice to? Nosato is above Uematsu, isn't it? That was an interesting bit of info. I hadn't realized that the head families had a hierarchy.
女性に気を使うのは当然だろう。
It's only natural to be considerate of women.
私も女性なんですけど。
I'm a woman too, though.
あえて敵外心をむき出しにしてくる相手に気を使う必要があるのかね。
I don't see a reason to be considerate of someone who's so hostile towards me. Do you?
勘弁してくださいよ。ついさっきそこで死人が出たんですよ。
Please stop. We just finished putting a body to rest. That was probably one of the reasons why they were so agitated, but my comment was enough to shut
と
them
はい
up.
え心配ですね。中で病気やら怪我やらしてたら大変だ。最悪踏み込みましょう。
Though, yes, I am worried too. She might need help if she's sick or injured. We may have no choice but to barge
そん
in.
なぶしつけな。
How improper. Was he the type of guy to report someone who undressed a girl to give her proper first aid? What was up with this guy's priorities?
上松さん、上松里香子さん。
Uematsu. Rikako Uematsu. I bashed the door almost violently. I heard the sound of rustling clothes. Has she collapsed or
上
something?
松さん、戸を開けますよ。
Uematsu, I'm opening the door. No answer again, only sounds. Is it really Rikako Uematsu in there?
戸を破ります。
Let's break it down. Chiemi nodded while Kyonosuke gave a disgruntled sigh. The door was made from thin plywood, a wooden frame. A solid impact would break through. I looked around and saw a few aged farming tools lying against some houses. The old wooden hoe and mallet were too rotten to work here, but an old axe looked just right.
せーの
1, 2. Lifted the axe and started counting, but I had to stop midway. There was a sound of clattering. The door suddenly moved. Surprised, I jumped backwards, glanced at the other two. They were just as shocked and, if not frightened. What was that? What do you mean? It has to be Rikako. Uematsu? There was no response at first, but a few seconds later, the door shook again. A moment later, it felt silent once more. Had she collapsed on the door? If she wasn't well and was lying next to the door, breaking it open was dangerous. I put the axe down and walked up to the door. The moment I approached it, I heard a clicking sound. I didn't have time to question what had happened before it creaked open. There was a gap of about 20 centimeters. It was pitch black inside. And there was a face all covered in blood. Ruh. It sunk back into the darkness the very next moment, but soon replaced by an inhuman scream and an arm that snaked out and grabbed for my neck. The grip had inhuman strength behind it. I ignored Chiemi and Kiyonosuke's scream and tried to pry myself free. My throat was on the verge of crushing. The groans continued ceaselessly. The nails dug into my neck and I was being dragged inside. Help! How the hell was she so strong? This arm clearly belonged to Rikako Uematsu. Help me! My words got them out of their stupor and they ran up to me. As panic and lack of oxygen dimmed my vision, they grabbed and bashed and tugged at the arm that was holding on to me. Damn it! Hey, let go! Just one finger! Don't know how long it took, but I was eventually freed. Chiemi swiftly slammed the door shut. Bring something I can use to bar the door. Like what? Shove the axe in it. Sitting on the ground in shock, I simply stared at their exchange. I could barely breathe. My vision was hazy. I couldn't think clearly. Something inside was trying to get at the door, open and possibly escape. What was it though? I had no idea. What had happened to Rikako Uematsu? How about this? Nosato, hold it shut. I'll bring the others and we'll barricade it. Araki, are you alright? Can you stand? Yeah. Actions were more important than words here. Stealing my resolve, I rose to my feet. We gathered everyone who could still move and sealed off Rikako Uematsu's windows, and with planks and whatever we could find. The small house was basically a pile of flimsy barricades now. Everyone was tired from all the work and sat down to rest. What's the point of doing this, though? We could still hear the groans and crashing sounds from the inside. No one answered the question, but we all understood that letting that thing out would be a mistake. But what exactly was it?
Yomibito ja.
Yomibito. That seemed like an answer of some sort anyway. What do you mean? Corrupted folk that come from Yomi.
人に間違いない。
You know, don't you? It has to be a Yamibito.
いや、そうじゃなくて、読み人は狼でしょ。宴で殺された恨みで蘇った。
That's not what I meant. Yamibito are the wolves, right? They came back to life because of their grudges over being killed during the feast.
そうとは限らんのよ、はるちゃん。安水は常に昔も今も読み人に脅かされとる。
It's not always like that, Haru. Yasumisu has always been menaced by
あ
Yamibito.
るいは汚れは読み人を生んだのかもしれぬ。
Or maybe
様は何かとんでもない銀を破ったのやも。
maybe this is the corruption. Uematsu may have broken an important law.
バカな！近畿の守り手、浄化を司るのが雲の家の役目だぞ。
That can't be. Protecting the laws is the role of the purifying spider family.
じゃからこそ汚れに触れすぎたのかもしれぬでしょう。
That might be it. She touched too much of the corruption. But that's
それは
思えば安水に来られたのは黄泉の汚れを少しでも食い止めんとされたのかもしれませんね。
she might have come to Yasumisu to keep at least a bit of the Yomi's corruption away.
これからどれだけ読み人が出るやら知れたもんじゃないわ。
How many Yomibito will we have now?
匠はええ子じゃった。
Takumi was a good boy.
僕を見る前に生けてよかったやも。
Maybe it's a good thing he died before seeing hell.
ナムシない大権現。ナムシない大権現。
Thus I offer homage to Shinai the Almighty, so peace may come to pass. Thus I offer homage to Shinai the Almighty, so peace may come to pass. Yeah, well, the grandma's hitting the bong there, Pyra. Took a fat rip. A silent prayer, her eyes were teary and her shoulders were shaking.
待て。じゃあ、リカコさんはもう。
Wait, then Rikako is
読み人はくくらねばならん。
Yamibito must be hanged. It didn't sit right with me. The rule was that breaking the laws meant getting corruption, and getting the corruption meant getting slaughtered, right? It was the first time I heard that it was possible to do something about the corruption, and that she died because of that. Logic had little grounds here, so the people were gradually losing their minds. They were being pushed closer to death. It was like this was a supernatural phenomenon.
皆さん、食事にしませんか?
Is anyone hungry?
私はもう落ち着きましたから。他のことは皆さんが落ち着いてから。
I've already calmed down, so we can do the rest after you've calmed down as well. It was a very attractive suggestion. As we all turned away and returned to the dining hall, I felt like Rikako Uematsu let out a groan even more unhumanly loud than any of those before. Once we arrived, the place was dominated by heavy silence. There were sounds coming from the kitchen, a kitchen knife rhythmically hitting the cutting board as Kaori prepared the food. Kei-san was seated away from everyone, desperately yet fluently chanting a sutra. Combined with the kitchen sounds, it had a mind-numbing effect. Everyone else was simply falling into a torpor, staring silently into space. Even I, the sanest person in the room, wanted to simply let my mind shut down and stop thinking. That wouldn't stop me from trying, though. Rather than trying to evaluate the details, I decided to return to square one and resume summarize the current situation. Takumi was dead. That left me, Chiemi, the two Oribes, Kyonosuke, Tei, Yamawaki, Meiko, Rikaku, and Haru. Total of 9. And Rikako, I didn't want to say she'd become a Yomibito or something, but it was clear that she was in a condition that left her functionally useless. Yeah, same here. Wait a minute. How can I be the sanest person in this room if you're also there? Curious. Normally, the right thing to do here would be to take her to the hospital. But instead, they were going to discuss killing her. I'd probably have to remind them of the sound course of action. Whatever the case, if you ignored Rikako Uematsu and I, only 7 people were participating in the feast. With Takumi's death, we would never know what the snake found out about Haru Makishima. Therefore, the only confirmed people were Kyonosuke and Meiko. And personally, I thought I could trust Chiemi, so that made 3. That left 4 others. This was bad. I wondered if Chiemi understood that. I had to talk to her in private.
ねえ、お姉ちゃんは？
Where's sister? Big sister? We kept Meiko away from all that happened this morning, so she was still in the dark about Rikako.
お姉さんはちょっと具合が悪いんだ。静かにしといてあげて。
She's not feeling too good, so leave her in peace.
ねえ、お外行っていい？
Hey, can I go inside?
危険じゃないかね。
Isn't it dangerous?
私見とくよ。すぐそこなら危なくもないでしょ。
I'll look after her. She'll be safe if she stays close. The two left.
安永、
何かな？
Yasudaga, what?
ちょっと取ってきてほしいものがね。
There's something I want you to fetch.
手洗いを借りる。
I'm gonna use the bathroom. More and more people left. They probably didn't feel comfortable standing up until now. Tei-san just continued chanting, though. It was like she lived in another world. Beside her, all that was left was Haru. The way she constantly shifted in her seat made it clear she felt uncomfortable.
匠さんのことは残念だったね。
Sorry about Takumi. Tried talking to her.
ええ、知恵姉もずっと頼ってたし。
Yeah, Chie always relied on him.
上松里香子さんは？
What about Rikako?
私、あの人苦手よ。
I didn't like her. She creeped me out.
ちえみちゃんは平気そうだったけど。
Chie seemed fine with her.
知恵姉は強いもん。
That's because she's strong.
彼女、上松さんがこっちへ来たのっていつ頃のこと？
When did Uematsu arrive here?
2年か3年前。だいぶ前よ。
2-3 years ago. Not recently, at least. That seemed like plenty of time to get to know a person, if you asked me. Or maybe not. Yasumisu's people had been suffering at the hands of the village heads for generations. Of course, they couldn't just accept her.
彼女は長者だというが、上松家というのは一体どういう家なんだ？
I hear she's one of the village heads. But what kind of family are the Uematsus?
何が聞きたいのよ。よそ者はおとなしくしてろって言われるの何度目ですか？
Why do you even want to know? How many times do we have to tell you that you're an outsider and you should just stay out of all of this?
ああ、ごめん。これは無神経だった。じゃあ別の話にしよう。
Sorry.
それはいい？
That was insensitive of me. Let's talk about something else then, alright?
別にいいけど。
Fine. Looked around as I saw Yasunaga walk upstairs. I lowered my voice and asked,
君にとってモッチーはどんな存在だったんだ？
So what was Mochi to you?
なんで聞くの？
Why are you asking?
お葬式代わりだよ。
to make up for his lack of funeral. Huh?
お葬式では亡くなった人のことを話すだろう。死者の思い出を話すことは霊魂の供養になるらしいよ。
In funerals, you talk about the people who passed away, right? I remember hearing that gives their souls peace.
なんか意外。
This is unexpected.
何が？
What is?
もっと血も涙もない人だと思ってたから、供養とかそんなの言い出すって思わなかった。
I thought you were cold and heartless. I didn't think I'd hear something about peace in the afterlife from you. It was just rude.
モッチーは野里の子だったけど、選ぶった感じじゃ全然なかった。
Mochi was a Nosato, but he never acted like he was better than anyone.
すっごく変だったし、知恵姉と同じくらいいろんな問題を起こしてたけど、
He was
人を傷つけ
weird
ることはしなかったし。
and as much as a troublemaker as Chie, but he never hurt anyone.
みんなはモッチーのこと頭おかしいって言ってたけど、
Everyone said he wasn't right in the head,
そうは思わない。
but I didn't think so.
とっても面白い人。多分テレビとかに出て大活躍するようなのが向いてたと思うわ。
He was really funny. I think he would have been really popular if he appeared on TV.
一つ上だったけど、ほとんど同い年の友達みたいに接してくれたし、
He was 1 year older than me, but he treated me like someone his own age.
楽しかったわよ。すごく。
I always had a ton of fun with him.
兄ちゃんもすごく仲良かったし。
He got along really well with brother too.
そんなに？
He did?
うん。いつも一緒にいたし、学校でもヒーローみたいな二人組だったよ。
Yeah, they were always together and they were like a pair of heroes in school.
時々横にいて寂しくなるくらい仲良かった。
They got along so well that I sometimes felt lonely with them. Her visage dimmed. I felt like she was easier to understand than most. If Mochi really liked her, it must have been a tough love. She hadn't even looked at him in that regard, and being with Yasunaga made him a target of her
で
jealousy.
も彼はもういない。安永君は辛いだろうな。
But he's gone now. Yasunaga must feel terrible. Yeah.
彼を手伝ってあげたら？
Why not help him out? Yasunaga was going up the stairs again. I gestured at him with my chin.
なんかお手伝い中っぽいし、ちえみちゃんは外だし。
He's doing something for his mom and Chiemi's outside.
君はモッチーの代わりにはなれないかもしれないし、そこに立つべきはちえみちゃんなのかもしれないが。
I don't think he can replace Mochi, and Chiemi's probably the best person for the
最
job.
後に決めるのは彼らだとして、それまでにしてあげたいことを我慢する必要はないんじゃないか？
But even if they are the ones who will make the final decision, there's no reason to hold yourself back in the meantime, right?
助けになりたいとは思うんだろ？
You want to help him, right?
うん。
Yeah.
あなたも？
You too?
まあ、彼女には一食一飯以上の恩があるからね。
Well, Chiemi gave me way more than just a meal and a place to
下
stay.
心がないとは言わないが、それ以上に彼女を支えたい。
I won't say that I don't have any ulterior motives. More than that, I just want to support her.
彼女は僕には見えないものに随分苦しんでいるみたいだから。
She seems to be suffering at the hands of things I can't even comprehend.
やっぱりあなたのこと誤解してたかも。
Yeah, I think I misunderstood you.
仕方ないよ。行くのかい？
I can't blame you. Are you going?
うん。昨日のこと謝らなきゃだし。
Yeah, I still need to apologize for
じ
yesterday.
ゃあ、僕も外へ。
And I'll go outside too. We stood up at the same time. Though Haru was always on edge, deep inside she was a really honest girl. I was worried that she would fall victim to some scumbag like me down the road. Oh.
何？
What?
やっぱりあなたは逃げた方が。
Maybe you should really run up.
いや、
Never mind. Forget I said
なんでも
anything.
ない。
She cut herself short and hurried upstairs. Apparently, I gained some of her trust, but it didn't look like I could get anything more useful than that bit of advice. Unlike the other inhabitants, she just believed that escape was possible. That's why she tried to do it yesterday. That might have been the extent of it.
それで誰が怪しいと思う?
So who do you suspect?
はるちゃんと安永くん。
Haru and Yasunaga. I walked up to Chiemi, who was looking after Mako, and we started a
はる
conversation.
ちゃんはともかくヤスくんなの?
I can understand Haru, but Yasu?
容疑者は実質4人。タイさんと香織さん。そしてその2人だ。
We have 4 suspects. Tae, Kaori, and them.
このうち昨日モッチーらが死んだ時に外出していたのは彼一人。
It was the only one out of those who was outside when Mochi died
さら
yesterday.
に狼の狡猾さを考えれば彼以外に考えづらい。
And considering how cunning the wolves are, I can't imagine it being anyone but him.
ずる賢いってこと?
Is that devious? Yeah.
そうなの?
Really?
今日なぜ匠さんは死んだ?
Why did Takumi die today?
なぜって狼に殺されたから。
Well, what do you mean? It was obviously killed by the wolves.
それを聞きたいんじゃない。
That's not what I'm asking. What do you mean? Oh, I think I get it.
雲に守られなかったから。
Because the spider didn't protect them.
正解。おそらくもう雲は死んでる。
Right, the spider's probably already dead. Wait.
蛇である匠さんは普通に考えれば初日確かに雲に守られたはずだ。
When you think about it, on the first day, Takumi was protected by the spider.
そして2日目である昨日、雲が別の誰かを守るべきだという話は一度も出なかったんだよね。
And yesterday, no one actually said the spider should protect someone else, right? Right.
ということは、雲は引き続き重要度の高い匠さんを守ったと考えるべきだ。雲が生きてたら。
That means that the spider once again protected Takumi. He's way too valuable. At least that's what should have happened if the spider was still alive.
それはそうか。
Yeah, that's true.
宴開始後にやられた匠さん以外の人は、勘蔵さん、吉嗣君、モッチ、狼じじい氏。
It was the old man. He was the spider.
この4人の中に雲がいて、なおかつそれを狼は見抜き、殺して、その上で匠さんを始末した。
One of these 4 was the spider. The wolves realized this, killed him, and went for Takumi.
そうとしか考えられない。
That's the only logical explanation.
それは考えすぎじゃない? 4人も死んだからそろそろ雲もいないだろうってことかも。
Aren't you overthinking it? What if they just assumed the spider was gone because of 4 people died?
楽天的に考えればそうだね。しかし相手が本当に賢いやつだったら、その油断が最後の致命傷になる。
That's the optimistic take. But if we're actually dealing with someone clever, underestimating them would be a fatal mistake.
でもどうやって雲を見抜けるって?
But how did they find out who the spider is?
声が大きい。
Too loud.
なんでもないよ、メイコちゃん。
It's nothing, Mako. She resumed scribbling on the ground. She was completely absorbed in it for some reason.
雲については、もしかしたら見抜けた可能性があったかもしれない。
I think it's likely that the wolves guessed who the spider was.
それってどうやって?
But how?
初日、勘蔵さんが安永くんに喋らせてから最終決定をさせたって言ってただろ?
You told me that on the first day, Kanzo let Yasunaga talk for most of the feast and only made the final decision, right?
僕の見立てでは、彼はもっと率先して動くタイプだし、初日は誰も殺さないという判断を下しそうにもない。
You looked like a more proactive type to me. I doubt he'd agree to not hang anyone on the first day.
まあ、そう言われたらそうかも。でも、それがどうしたの?
Well, that's true, but what about it?
彼が喋って決定が行われれば、場に与える影響はとてつもなく大きい。そしておそらく、決断はある程度正しい。
If he had spoken up and taken the initiative, he could have easily controlled the situation, and most of his decisions would have been good
だ
calls.
から狼に狙われやすい。こう僕らは考えたよね。
That was why he was such a good target for the wolves. That's what we thought, right?
そうだけど、同じ時にヤス君も狙われやすいって話したじゃん。
It's true, but we also thought the same about Yasu.
逆を返せば、自分が狼なら狼に狙われるリスクはないわけだ。
On the other hand, if you're a wolf, you have no chance of becoming a target for the wolves.
それよりも大事なことを黙っていて不自然がられる方が危ない。だから当たり障りのない情報は出す。
It's more dangerous for them not to say anything important and look suspicious. Giving away harmless info, for one, is way better.
もしそうならとても賢い選択だ。そうは思わない？
Hey there, Shen. This is a visual novel about, you know the werewolf game? Well, it's basically that. Yeah. It's a clever thing to do, don't you think?
でも、肝臓じいちゃんがそんなに喋らなかったって話とどうつながるの？
But how is that related to Kanzo keeping his silence?
これから言うのは完全に憶測だけど、
Well, this is all speculation.
肝臓さんが動かなかったのは権威を発揮して狼に目をつけられるのを防ぐため。
But I think he kept quiet to avoid calling attention to himself so the wolves wouldn't target him.
なぜその必要があったか。彼が自身の生存が全員の生存にとって必要だと判断したから。
Why would he do that? Because he felt that his survival was intrinsically linked to that of the others.
なぜなら
Because he was the spider.
まさかカゴ持ちだったから？
Because he had a guardian.
そうだ。それもおそらく。
And it was probably the spider.
どうしてそこまで言えるの？
Why are you so confident?
正体がバレた時のリスクが最も大きいカゴだ。なぜなら自分を守れないからね。
Why are you reading it despite having a Jap VA? Well, the Japanese voice acting, while good, not everyone can understand it. The spider is the most vulnerable participant in the feast. After all, the one person they can't protect is themselves.
それでいて、正体がバレない限り、狼に対して一夜分無駄にさせられる可能性がある。
But as long as his identity was hidden, he had the possibility of making the wolves waste the night. Well, the thing is, also, like, someone might have the stream on another window while they're doing something else and they can't just read. I thought you only read when there's no VA. Well, if it was in English, I wouldn't read it. But it's not. The voice acting, that is.
だから彼は極力目立たないように振る舞おうとした。しかしそれが逆に狼の注意を引いたんだ。
That was probably why he tried not to stand out, but it worked against him and attracted the wolves' attention.
あの人が黙ってるなんて、よほどの覚悟を持っているに違いない。とね。
I think we're on chapter 3, Shen. He, of all people, is quiet. He must have an amazing guardian, and that's all.
それで狼は彼をまんまと初日に仕留めることに成功し、丸裸になった匠さんを翌日に片付けた。
That led to the wolves taking him out on the first day and then taking out Takumi, now defenseless, on the second.
憶測だってのは分かってるけど、なんとなくそうだって気もする。
I know that's just speculation, but I kind of feel like you're right.
もしそこまで敵が意図的だったとすると、現状起きている異常事態も狼のショートカット戦術と考えた方がいい。
If even that was planned by the enemies, it's best to assume that the anomalies too have all been shortcuts for the wolves.
どういうこと？
What do you mean?
ルール外で人が死にすぎている。吉嗣君、モッチ、狼じじいし、そしてほぼ死人扱いの植松里香子。
Too many people died outside the rules. Yashitsugu, Mochi, the old wolf guy, and Rikako. She's effectively dead now.
狼にとっては予定外の死人が出ることは歓迎すべき。宴の回数が減ればくくられる危険が減るから。
To the wolves, unplanned deaths are a good thing. The less feasts they have to survive, the lower the chance they'll be hanged.
だから意図的に人が死ぬように仕向けているとしたら
Then what if they planned for those people to die?
話はわかるけど、どうやって？
I see your point, but how could they pull it off?
義継君については、例えば夜に出歩くように仕向けて汚れに追いやった。
They could tell Yoshitsugu to walk around at night, basically sending him to the corruption.
モッチーと狼じじい氏については動機まではわからないが、
I don't know the motive behind Mochi and the wolf guy's death.
植松里香子に彼らを殺させたとすれば辻褄が合う。
But it would make sense if they were killed by Rikako.
え？
What?
タエさんは植松家の役割に絡めて汚れの原因を語っていたが、もっと筋の通った説がある。
Tae-san talked about Uematsu's role and thought she felt to the corruption because of it. There's a more reasonable explanation.
植松里香子が2人を殺したとすれば、1日1人しか殺せない宴のルールに抵触し、汚れの対象となるんだ。
If she killed the two, she would have broken the feast's rule of one person per day and become a target of the corruption. I put aside the idea that there were apparently two types of corruption, slaughter and madness.
でもそんなの無理でしょ。彼女あんな服着てるんだよ。着替える暇なんてないじゃん。
But how? Did you see the clothes she wears? She wouldn't have the time to change.
それに男2人相手に彼女が挑んで勝てるわけないってば。
And there was no way she could have won against two men, right?
じゃあこういうのはモッチーと狼じじい氏、どちらかがどちらかを殺し、残った方を彼女が殺した。
And how about this? Mochi or the wolf guy killed the other, and the one who survived was killed by her.
2人目の血を流したことで、彼女は汚れの対象になる。
She became the target of the corruption for drawing the blood of a second person in one day.
服についてはわからないが、何か割烹着でも羽織ればいけるかもしれない。検証するまで不可能とは言えない。
I've got a feeling this will have a lot of bad endings. Yep. In fact, that's one of the ways to get progression is to hit a bad ending. I don't know about the clothes, but it would be solved by a large apron or something. We can't say it's impossible until we verify it.
それはでも一人だって相手は男で。
But even a single guy sounds too much for her.
片方は何歳かもわからない老人だしな。あるいは殺し合って互いに弱ってたかも。
One of them was senile, though. Maybe they were weakened from trying to kill each other. Kill?
そんな、なんでそんなこと考えられるの？
What? How could you think of something like that?
だから全部憶測だ。動機だって不明。しかし話の筋は通っている。
Again, it's all just speculation. I don't even know the motive, but it does make sense.
じゃあそれがどうして狼の陰謀につながるっていうの？
But how is this related to the wolves'
動
conspiracy?
機の話になるとわからないけど、弱みを握ったとか殺すように仕向ける方法はあるんじゃないかな。
I don't know the motive here, but if they knew her weakness or something, they could have goaded her into killing
あ
them.
るいは彼女自身が狼だとかね。
Or maybe she was a wolf herself? Chiemi was at a loss for words. I had no choice but to continue myself.
狼の他の仲間が優位になるように自ら時計の針を進めたって可能性もある。
She could have hastened the whole process to give the other wolf an advantage.
それはないよ。狼は数が減るほど不利じゃん。
I really doubt that. Getting themselves killed would really be bad for the wolves.
確かに狼対人の人数比で言えば一人対二人はうまい交換じゃない。
True, considering the number of wolves and humans, losing one wolf to take out two humans isn't a good deal.
誰もがその打算を働かせられるとは限らない。
But there was no guarantee that everyone would realize that.
誰もが合理的に動くわけじゃない。非合理的なことは多分起こってるし、その全てを予測することは不可能だ。
Not everyone acts logically, there's a lot of illogical stuff going on, and predicting their effects is impossible.
いや、聞きたくない。
No, I don't want to hear that.
でも諦めるわけにはいかないだろう。
But you can't give up, can you?
もう何も考えたくないよ。
I don't want to think anymore.
ごめん、いろいろ言ってさ。
Sorry, said too much.
うん、こっちこそごめん。でもちょっときつい。
Don't worry, I'm the one who should be sorry, but yeah, this is a bit hard for me.
僕もこれ以上君たちがこんなものに付き合う必要はないと思う。脱出するなら協力するけど。
I really don't think you people need to keep playing along with this. I'll help you escape if you want.
無理だよ。
You can't.
分かってるんだ。ここに生まれたならここで死ぬしかないんだよ。
I just know that if you're born here, you're fated to die
そ
here.
んなのは単なる思い込みだよ。
It's just baseless
神
delusion.
様が見えない人には分からないよ。
Someone who can't see God would never understand.
ああ、わからないな。困ったな。
Yeah, I won't. How troubling. It really was troubling. If this was the same tabletop fun for the whole family game, I would have already punched the GM and left. But lives were actually on the line here. Not just my own, but also that of someone I kind of liked. We made it this far, yet she was uncooperative. Maybe I was going about this wrong. Maybe if I wanted to save her life, I had to start by saving her from the darkness within. Or maybe from the unidentified supernatural phenomenon that was biting her. Though that didn't seem like something that could be done in just 3 or 4 days. We could fix her, baby! Still, I'd struggle until the very end. I couldn't participate in the feast myself, so I had no choice but to leave it to Chiemi. I didn't say anything more to her. I just chose to believe she'd overcome her inner conflict soon. Who's the MC? It's the guy in the jacket. Haruaki. Meanwhile, Mako's drawing had grown so large, it felt like she would get lost in the mist.
Oi!
Haruaki Fusaishi is our main character. Hey! I left Chiemi and went to Mako. But she waved at me. Good thing she was kind of used to me now.
さっきから何を描いてるんだい?
What you drawing?
こっちがね、お守り。
Those are the Guardians.
お守り?
Guardians? One drawing showed a warped circle with a line just as strange going through it. But I could see what it was. It looked like the Higuchi family crest I saw in the dining hall. There were 4 of them, apparently. The others were hard to differentiate. Oh, and that whirling drawing was the same as the one on the stone, the symbol of the Yamotsu Okami.
なるほど。新内さんのお守りか。お姉ちゃんに教わったのかい?
I see. Shinai's guardians. Did Big Sister teach them to you? Yeah.
こっちのはお守りじゃないね。
What about these? These are not guardians, are they?
家畜。
They're cattle. I certainly wasn't expecting to hear such a vivid word from a girl about 4 years
動
old.
物かい?
Animals, huh?
これがね、牛。
Yeah, this is a cow.
ふむふむ。
これはロバ。
This is a donkey.
おー。
こっちはね、豚。
This is a pig.
ああ。
The ground wasn't the best canvas, and the little girl wasn't the best artist. All I could really tell was that they all had 4 legs.
これは?
And this is?
私。
It's me! It had 4 legs, though. Well, whatever.
じゃあ、一番でっかいこれは?
And this? It's bigger than the others.
狼。
It's a wolf. A light chill went down my spine.
なんで狼なの?
Huh? Why a wolf?
狼が来るから。
Because the wolf is coming. Huh? The wolf is coming? That was like...
狼が来るから逃げなきゃいけなくて
Because the wolf is coming, I had to run far, far
待って
away.
くれ、メコちゃん。君は狼を知ってるのか？
Hold on, Mako. You know the wolf?
会ったことないでも怖いって
I haven't met him, but I know he's scary.
それは、ここの狼？
Is this the same wolf as we have here?
ね
Huh?
蛇とか、猿とかは？
Where's the snake and the monkey?
知らない
I don't know.
狼は何をするの？
What does a wolf do?
家畜を食べる
It eats the cattle.
食べる？
Eat?
お馬は食べられたって
They said the horse was eaten. Apparently, this had nothing to do with Fujiyoshi's legend. I had no idea if this was from a picture book or her imagination, but there were barely any links between the stories. Or maybe I was rushing to conclusions.
そのお話は誰に聞いたの？
Who told you this story?
本当だよ
It really happened.
じゃあ、どこで会ったことかな？
Happened to a friend of mine.
遠く
Far away.
遠くか。
Far away, huh?
ずーっと歩いてきたの
I've been walking for so long. Well, didn't look like I could get any details from her. Far away referred to the land of myth, and it actually had truths regarding Fujiyoshi's legend that weren't told here. What the hell was I thinking? Land of myth? How stupid. I should just calm down and file it under more info that made no sense to me.
そっか。頑張ったね。
I see, it must have been hard.
お腹すいた
I'm hungry.
そうだね。僕もだ。
Same
戻
here.
ろうか。
Let's go back. Okay. As we turned around, I saw Chiemi stand up in the mist again and hesitantly beckon us.
食事ができたそうだ。
Looks like the food's ready. Kiyonosuke was standing at the entrance to the dining hall wearing a gloomy expression. It was never particularly vigorous, but now his visage was haggard, and he wasn't nearly as arrogant as before. Couldn't blame him. The only person he was friendly, flirtatious to, Rikako Uematsu, was in an awful state. Also, despite all he'd said, he actually relied on Takumi. They seemed to be close in terms of age, too. And from what I've heard, he never really said anything wrong. The only problem was his insensitive choice of words. The feast was a communication game. Even if you were right about something, it didn't matter if you couldn't convince anyone.
ありがとうございます。
Thank you very much. Still, he was one of the mere two confirmed humans. Treating him badly and making him upset wouldn't help at all. I had to be courteous.
行こうか。
Let's go.
お腹
Yeah.
減ったね、メイコちゃん。
Hungry, aren't we, Mako? Jamie had calmed down a bit. I already told her my suspicions. Now I had hoped she handled the feast well. All that was left now was to get some nutrients to support my hard-working brain, right?
すみませんね。こんなのしかできなくて。
Sorry, I couldn't prepare anything better. She laded what appeared to be rice gruel from a large pot. It was just thick white soup with vegetables, rice, and something brown
差
inside.
し入りだ。慣れてます？
Game meat. Is it fermented?
ええ。生のはダメになっちゃったから。
Yes, the fresh meat was spoiled.
ちえみちゃん、
Jimmy, I whispered to her.
どうしようか。
What do we do?
春明さんはどうしたい？
What do you want to do? We were talking about the thing where I had to avoid the local food.
せっかくだから今回は貫こうか。
You know what? I'll stick to my diet until the end this time.
オッケー。ありがとう。
Okay, thanks. What did I mean by this time? Did I think I had another life or something? It was fine. It wasn't like I was cool with dying. Just on the off chance I got a second shot, dying wasn't an acceptable option. I wasn't about to compromise on that. There's no point in walking around, so I'll just wait here. Alright. You're not gonna eat? I've got a bunch of allergies.
若い人は変色しよるからいろいろ食べんと強くなれんわよ
It's because you youngins don't eat proper. You won't become strong if you don't have a balanced diet. Hey, I was lying. But telling actual allergy sufferers that they should just eat and they'd be cured was actual murder. Well, there were some efforts to cure allergies by carefully injecting the allergens via vaccine, but that was a subject for the doctor. Anyway, going back to the dorm by myself was dangerous, since they'd suspect me, so I just waited in the corner of the room, still hungry.
Yasunaga-kun to Haru-chan wa?
Where's Yasunaga and Haru? Still upstairs? Don't mind them, your food will get cold. More! I'll go call them. I went up the stairs, and when I reached the second floor, I stopped for a moment. I heard some rustling. Was it possible they'd gotten that intimate in just a few minutes? Was I about to ruin the mood? Well, food was important too. I said, just to get their attention, and slowly went up, making sure I was loud enough for them to hear me coming. Oh, it's lunch. It's lunchtime. Oh, Yasunaga? Oh, hello. The room was full of stuff. It was a huge mess. You looking for something? No luck, huh?
新しい割烹着が屋根裏にあるって言われたんですけど、見つけられなくて、他もひっくり返してたところですよ。
Yes, I was told there was a new apron in the attic, but we couldn't find it there, so we were just checking other places too. So that was it.
見た?
Did you see? Huh?
よければみんなには黙っててもらえますか?
Could you tell anyone about this?
いや、勝手に気を使いはしたけど、別に何か危ないシーンを目撃したわけじゃないんだけど。
Well, I did come up carefully. It's not like I saw anything I shouldn't have. Oh.
お楽しみ中だった?
Were you going at it?
何言うのよ?
What are you saying?
嘘だよ。こんな時にそんなこと、君たちはしないでしょ?
I'm kidding. I know you wouldn't do something like that at a time like this.
そりゃそうですよ。
Of course we wouldn't.
もちろんよ。
Yeah. Really now? I was kind of worried.
じゃあ、一旦切り上げて食事にしたらどうかな?
Anyway, why not take a break and get some food? They didn't argue, and as we prepared to go back, there was a loud noise from downstairs. What? Yasunaga and I looked at each other, then ran out of the room without saying a word. We were met with a strange scene. I instantly realized what had happened and who was responsible. Kyonosuke was wearing a furious expression, his shoulders shaking. There was a shattered plate of rice gruel at his feet. The contents were still steaming. He was facing Kaori Oribe, who was standing completely still. Did he throw his food on the floor? Was it that bad? No way. This was clearly something way bigger than that.
いきなりどうしたんです?
It's gotten into you. Shiemi and the others didn't seem to understand either. They shifted uneasily. One.
何ですと?
What?
渦だ! 渦! シシタケにトリカブトが入っている!
Wolfsbane, the plant. There's aconite in the food. What?
メイコちゃん、食べた?
Did you eat any?
いただきます。まだ。
Not yet.
他に誰も食べてない?
What about the rest of you?
ちょっと待って。何が何だか。本当なんですか?
Hold on, I'm so lost. Is that true?
見るこの生煮えの妖片を。光沢があり、裏も白くなく、先端が尖る。 匂いも違う。よもぎや二輪草じゃない。
Look at these leaves. They shine. The other side isn't white, and the tip is pointy. They smell different too. This isn't mugwort or windflower.
ほんまです。こりゃフスじゃ。
You're right, it's wolfsbane.
山菜を入れたの母さん。
You used wild plants, Mom?
え
Yes.
危なかったね。間違えてそんなの入れちゃって。
That was
中毒が起きるところ。
that was close. What a mistake. Someone almost got poisoned.
殺す気だ。
She wants to kill us.
待ちなさいよ。ただ間違えただけでしょ。それだけでそんなひどい。
Wait, it was just a mistake. That's it. Don't be so cruel. Haru stopped talking when she realized the suspect was acting strange. Kaori was staring right at Kiyonosuke, not moving an inch and smiling. She was completely glaring him down. Yes. That response was so delayed, we had no idea what it was for. When Kiyonosuke backed away a bit, his expression shifted from rage to fear.
母さん。
Mom?
みんな死んでしまえばいいのよ。
You should all die! What? As she stood there, wailing madly, she brandished a knife. She was hardly moving quickly, but the sight of the blade had stunted our reflexes. I'd seen some bizarre corpses here I'd bore witness to with what pure malice could do. But still living mutant malevolence, killing intent was intense enough to paralyze everyone present. I barely registered the scene unfolding before me. Staggering a bit, the woman pressed past the counter. The sharp knife was still green with something, likely shavings of aconite. She raised her voice and aimed her poison weapon at the nearest target, Kiyonosuke. Oh, what do we do? Tackle her or find a nearby weapon? Finally, we get to do something. I don't know why I moved when I did. I was a man of words, not of impulse. In times of crisis, I was the type to turn tail and run after making some sort of parting threat. I shouldn't have been on good enough terms with either Kiyonosuke or Kaori to risk my life for them. Yet when I came to my senses, my body was dancing, charging straight for Kaori with my right shoulder. And after a brief struggle, we collapsed. I heard her let out a strange cackle in my ears. I had to change my posture. Unless I pinned her knife down, or her knife hand down, But in the end, it turned out I wasn't cut out for the job. These roundabout thoughts were just delaying the inevitable. When the madly laughing woman embraced me, my thoughts ground to a complete halt. She stabbed me right in the back. Simple as. To her, that was just another obstacle that had to be removed. I don't know if the wound itself was fatal, but I could tell that the blade had sunk incredibly deep. And it was coated in leaf green poison. It must have been a near instant death. My mind quickly grew hazy, yet my final moments were those of self-reflection. Reckless actions aren't my forte after all. Game over. Oh, let's go watch the hint corner.
やっちまったな大将。
Hey, you done it now, hey chief.
こいつはいただけねえ。
Sorry, I forgot we were a huge loser. This was a real bust. I'll give you the hint right away.
今回のバッドエンドも題してど素人の無謀な攻撃が呼んだ当然の結末で毒死についてだが
Bad ending number 5, a poison death for a reckless amateur.
妻子春明のやつは別に武道家でも何でもねえただの素人だ
Look, Haruaki Fusaishi isn't some kind of martial arts shonen protagonist, okay?
そもそも武術かじった人間なら武器持ったやつからはまず逃げるっつうぜ武器の怖さをよく知ってるからだ
Besides, even if he did dabble in it a bit, his first instinct would be to run away from someone armed. He'd be fully aware how scary a weapon can be.
都市格闘もののアニメや漫画じゃ軽視されがちだが現実では武器ってのは素手の何十倍も有利かつ危険なんだ
A lot of martial arts anime and manga tend to treat them lightly, but in reality, weapons are far more dangerous than your fists. Also in Yakuza. Yakuza is also a game where weapons are treated lightly, except in a cutscene.
その場のノリで突っ込めば相応の報いを受けるまして今回は相手が即死クラスの毒まで併用してるときた
If you charged in based on that logic, then you deserve to die. Hell, the killer this time even had instantly lethal poison on their side.
どう考えても逃げるが最上ただそれがままならねえならせめて相手よりリーチの長い武器を探しな
So running away is your best bet in this case. However, if that's not an option, at least find a weapon with a longer reach than the would-be killer.
つうわけで当然の結末同じ場所3読みの9毒殺を止めよでもう一方の選択肢を選ぶこと
So yeah, don't bring a fist to a knife fight. Go back to 3 Yomi, stop poisoning, and pick the other choice. Okay, boss.
よし今回はここまで次も元気に死んでこい
Okay, that's enough for this time. Die a bloodier death next time. Oh, I'd rather not.
そういう夢だったってわけだ次はもっとうまくやれ
It's just a dream.
羊が2匹
Okay, now we got a short. Stop the poison. When's Iathon? Soon. A little skull now. I had no idea when my body began to move. I grabbed the nearest chair without thinking about it. It was old wooden and heavy. Picking it up made me lose my balance for a bit. I pointed its legs at the would-be murderer and dashed forward as fast as I could. A crash, a cry of pain, a scream. Amidst the cacophony, I attempted to keep Kaori-san pinned down. I pressed the edge of the chair against her knife arm. She cried out in pain and the blade clattered to the floor. She hit me, then quickly kicked it away. In hindsight, it all happened in a mere matter of seconds. In fact, tying her up was way harder, what with her foaming at the mouth and struggling. In the end, we bound her limbs and gagged her to silence her bloodthirsty screams. That done, we had no choice but to face reality.
僕がこれを切り出すのはどうかと思うけど、どうするんです？これは。
I know I'm probably not the best person to ask, but what do you even do about this? 6 of us stood in the mists right outside the dining hall. Kaori was locked inside.
織部さんも 読み人になってしもう。
She's also become a Yomibito.
違う、そんなわけない。母さんはちょっとおかしくなってるだけだ。
No, that can't be. She's just not feeling
香
well.
織さん、やっぱり無理してたんだね。
I guess she was really pushing
当
herself.
たり前でしょ。母さんが義継をどれだけ大事にしてたか。
Of course she was. Do you have any idea how important Yoshitsugu was to her?
あいつはバカだし、喧嘩っ早くて手がかかるやつだったけど。
He was foolish, short-tempered, and annoying, but
だからこそ母さんは
no,
あいつを一番大事にしてた。
that's exactly why she treasured him so
父親に
much.
似て無謀だって母さんは何度も言ってたから。
She often said that he was as reckless as his father.
母は僕が責任を持って落ち着ける。
I'll take
どうか今日のことは許し。
I'll take responsibility and calm her down myself. Please forgive her for this.
宴で決めるべきだ。
We should decide this at the feast.
待ってください。これは宴とは関係ない個人の暴走です。分けて考えるべきだ。
Please, wait. It's a personal outburst that has nothing to do with the feast. Keep her out of it.
どうしてそう言える？ご婦人は確かに汚れによって狂気を得たのかもしれん。
How can you be so certain? She might have succumbed to the corruption.
野里さん、
Masato?
霧の中のことは宴で決めるべきだ。でないと汚れるかもしれん。
Everything in the mists has to be decided at the feast. Breaking that law risks falling victim to the corruption.
そうで
It's
す
true.
わかりました。
Very well, let's go.
ダメだ。このままだと香織さんが殺されるぞ。安永君。
Asanaga, she'll be killed.
させませんよ。
I won't let that happen.
夫妻さん、母を見ていてください。
Fuseishi, please look after
僕
her.
はフリーでいいのかい？
You're not gonna lock me up again? Apparently it didn't matter anymore.
ちえみちゃん。
Oh, Chami's got that blank look. She was making the same face she did whenever she talked about
や
God.
っぱりこうなった。
I knew this would happen. Strangely enough, there was emotion in her eyes. I could see 90% resignation and 10% fear. Watching me until she finally passed out of sight, she followed the others towards the hall. There's no one left?
酒はどこにあるんだ？
Where's the sake?
そんなのもういいじゃないですか。
Can we just skip that part?
清めるのは大事よ。ほれ
Cleansing is
野
important.
里様
Here you go, Nosato.
いただく。回るな。
Thank you. That hits the spot.
ちいちゃんも
You too, Chi-chan.
やすくん、
Yasu,
あんたは舐めるだけ。
take a lick.
姉ちゃんは
What about big sister?
植松様は
Uematsu can't be here anymore. Ugh.
私世話するわ。
I'll look after the girl.
せ無駄。
What's the point?
ちえねえ、しっかりしてよ。
She ain't get a grip.
では始めるが、私は織部夫人をくくるのに一票入れたい。
Let's begin. I vote to hang Oribe.
根拠は何です？
For what reason?
彼女は危険だ。
She's dangerous.
じゃあ僕は植松里香子さんに一票入れますよ。
In that case, I will vote for Rikako
危険
Uematsu
だからです。
for the same reason.
他の各位はどう考えるのかね。仮投票だ。決定じゃないとしてだ。
What about the rest? This is a temporary vote for now. Say what you think.
私はどっちもくくるべきと思っておりますよ。
I think we should hang both. Doesn't really matter what order.
私今頭回ってない。
I can't think straight right now.
植松里香子をくくるべきよ。香織さんは話せばわかるかもしれないけど、あっちはもう化け物じゃない。
We should hang Rikako Uematsu. We can at least talk to Kaori, but Rikako is a mad beast.
お前はどうなんだ、子
What,
供。
what about you, child?
お姉ちゃん食べるの？
They're eating Big Sister?
何を言ってる。いいか、お前の好きなリカ子さんを守りたいなら織部か。
無理ですよ。分かりっこない。危険が3人、あとは2対1。
She won't
決まっ
understand.
たようですね。
3 didn't vote, and 3 who did are in favor of hanging Uematsu. It's decided.
ふざけるな。 わざわざ移り住んでまで安水に身を尽くした彼女に対して、これが安水の恩の返し方か。
This is absurd. Is this how you repay her for moving here and working so hard on her behalf?
それは。
というか、聞かせてくれませんか。母は取り乱してはいるけど、話は通じる。説得の可能性はあります。
Hear me out, will you? My mom is just a bit out of it right now. We may still be able to reason with her.
植松さんは、あれじゃ、獣と同じじゃないですか。投票だってもうできない。読み人なんですよ。
However, Uematsu is basically a mindless animal. She doesn't even have the capacity to vote on things. Unlike mom, she's a Yamibito now.
仮に今日母を振ったとして、明日はどうするんです？植松さんを何とかする手はあるんですか？
Even if we hang my mom today, what will we do tomorrow? Do you have a way of fixing Uematsu?
決まりですかね。
Looks like it's decided.
なんと短絡的な。血縁者ゆえのひいき目かもしれんが、対極的なものが何も見えていない。
How simplistic. I know you're biased because Madame Oribe is a relative, but you don't see the big picture.
なんですって？
What?
考えてもみろ。我々はあくまで狼を全滅させねばならんのだ。
Think about it.
先度からすればそっちの方が先だ。
Our top priority is to kill the wolves. That comes before all else.
読み人は狼ではないのだろう。であれば、彼女は狼でないと証明されたも同義なのだ。
Yamibito aren't wolves, are they? That basically proves that Rikako isn't a wolf.
は？どういうことです？
What do you mean?
伝承を思い出してみるがいい。狼とは世持つ狼。すでに黄泉の汚れを負った存在なのだ。
Remember the legend. The wolves are Yomotsu Okami, beings already corrupted by
そ
Yomi.
の上さらに読み人になるなど考えられるかね。
Do you really believe they can become Yamabito as well?
山脇さん、どう思われるか。
Yamawaki, what's your opinion?
それは。
That might be true.
こういう仮説はどうかね。強い汚れを受ければ斬死する。あの取材者たちや君の弟のように。
Here's a hypothesis. Powerful corruption slaughters you like it did those journalists and your brother.
しかし一方、弱い汚れは狂気となる。狂ったお守りが狼で、狂った人が読み人だ。
However, weaker levels of corruption cause madness. Mad guardians are wolves. Mad humans are Yomibito.
つまり汚れの罰は狼にとって斬死のみを意味し、人には読み人と斬死の二通りあり得る。
That means that the corruption's punishment can only be slaughter for wolves, and either slaughter or Yomibito transformation for humans.
ご都合主義な妄想だ。
It's just a convenient delusion.
そう、証明する手立てはない。しかし最もらしさを積み上げることはまだできるぞ。
Indeed, I have no way to prove it, but I can make it seem more plausible.
もし狼が汚れで狂うというのならば、あんな姿になるのかね。人の皮をかぶった獣が狂ったならば。
If wolves could go mad due to the corruption, would they even look like Rikako? These are beasts disguised as humans. Would they truly look like that if they had gone mad?
私は獣は本性を表すと思うがね。ケムクジャラな本性を。リカコさんはそうなったかね？なっていない。
I think the beasts would show their true selves, their bestial fury. Bestial fury. Is that what happened to Rikako? No!
それは。そうかもしれんです。
That might be true.
それじゃあ、香織さんを先にすべきなのかね。
Then maybe we should just hang Kaori first.
エバ
Aiba?
野里さんはおとぎ話を前提にして話してる。実際に人が死んでいるのにだ。
You're basing your
馬鹿げてるでしょ。
You're basing your decisions on fairy tales. We had actual deaths here. This is ridiculous.
馬鹿げているのはどっちだ。汚れの恐怖を認めるならば、それは伝承を認めるということだ。
I'm the one who's ridiculous. To accept the fear of the corruption means to accept the legends.
そら私は認めたぞ。汚れを恐れつつ伝承を軽んじるのは二重基準ではないかね。え？
See, I've accepted it. Fearing the corruption while disregarding the legends is what's truly ridiculous, don't you think?
知恵ね。
私は神様が怖い。
I'm afraid of God.
こうして全てを手のひらの上でもてあそんでいる神様が怖い。
I'm afraid of this God who toys with us as we dance in his palm.
何を言ってるの？
What are you saying?
それでも、いや、それだからこそ。
Regardless of, no, because of that.
怖いものと戦わなきゃならなくて、戦うには武器が必要で。
We need to fight back against our fears. For that, we need weapons. Haruaki.
なんで
Why him?
あいつ？
私は、ヤス君、君に投票する。
I vote for you, Yasu. What?
何を？
What? Chie?
わからんぞ芹沢。
I'm not sure I understand you,
野
Serizawa.
里さん、ここから確定票を取って。
Nosato, start the proper vote.
でしょ？
There's no point in just talking. What?
いつかやらなきゃならないことだ。それに CNA が確定票を入れるなら僕らが入れないのはアンフェ
This
アだ。
was going to happen sooner or later, and if she truly casts her vote, it is only fair for us to cast ours.
でも許せるかどうかは別だよ。CNA。
But whether I can forgive you or not is another story, Chie.
分かってる。
I know.
異論はないか。ではこれから確定票とする。
No objections? Then let's begin the vote.
私の考えを言うね。野里さんの言い分は半分まで正しい。
Here's what I think.
この場は狼を探すために使うべき。
Nosato is half right. We're supposed to search for the
た
wolves.
だ、その論拠が昔話の解釈なのは論外。モッチーや狼じじいや匠兄ちゃんは人間に殺されてるんだ。
But I'm completely against relying on the legends for evidence. Mochi, the old wolf guy, and Takumi all died at the hands of people.
ならば、昔話じゃなくて、今まであったことを振り返って考えるべき。
So that's
それで私は考えた。
so that's why we should look back on what's happened so far instead of the legends. So how about this?
まず、私と同じように優先順位をちゃんとつけられる人は、この中で誰か。
First, who aside from me understood the purpose of the
野
feast?
里さんはさっき言った通り。メイコちゃんは若すぎて無理。ハルちゃんは
Nosato said it himself. Meiko was too young to understand, and Haru,
ぶっちゃけ野里さんへのアンチとヤス君の味方をするだろうって思った。
honestly,
状況に関わらず、
I think she'd oppose Nosato and side with Yasu regardless of the situation.
タイばあちゃんはきっと伝説やら何やら中心で語るだろうって分かってる。一等信心深い人だからね。
Taiba would look to the legends, obviously. She's the biggest believer here.
じゃあヤス君はどうだろう。辛いこともあったし、今はお母さんがくくられる寸前で焦る気持ちは分かる。
What about Yasu, though? I know it's been hard for him, and his mom is about to be hanged. I can understand why he panicked.
その対抗としてリカコさんをくくる方向で進めちゃうのはどうかな。
But then why push for Rikako's hanging?
安水の人間なら確かに長者をくくる方向に誘導するのは簡単かもだけど、君には優先度ってものが分かってるはず。
It's easy for us Yasumisu people to justify hanging the village heads, but you should understand what comes first.
怪しい人、なきにせん。なんて言葉より前に直接の脅威になり得る狼を探すべきってね。
Death of the damned Yomibito is the mandate. We should be looking for the immediate threat at hand, the wolves, before worrying about those words.
私の知ってるヤス君は切羽詰まっても理屈っぽくそんなことを言う人だった。
The Yasu I know would keep a cool head even in a crisis.
言
Chie,
いたいことは分かったよ。
I understand what you're saying.
僕はこいつが許せないんだ。
I just can't forgive him.
あなたが適当なことを言って場をかき回すもんだから、匠兄も義継もモッチーも殺された。
Whenever you talk, it always makes a mess of things. Takumi, Yashitsugu, and Mochi are dead because of
こ
you.
の後に及んで次は母さんだというあなたが許せないんだ。
And now you want to take my mother? I'm sick of you.
ちょっと兄ちゃんどうしたの？落ち着いて。
Brother, what's wrong? Calm down.
そうだね、優先度なんて忘れてた。僕はこいつの鼻を明かしたかった。それでハルちゃんを利用したのさ。
So yeah, I forgot about the purpose of the feast. It was just an act of petty revenge. I used Haru for that.
知恵姉が言った通り、僕の本性 それだけのつまらない人間だよ。
Like you said, that's all there is to me. I'm a pretty boring
そ
person.
れでも不満なの？
Are you
知恵ね
Are you still not satisfied?
そうだね。らしくないとしか思わない。
Yeah, this is totally out of character for you.
ヤス君、これはきっと疑心暗鬼だと思う。でも言うね。
Yasu, I'm probably just looking too deeply into it, but
香織さんが食事を出した時、安永君と春ちゃんはいなかったよね。
when Kaori set the food, only you and Haru were absent.
もし他の人があれで全滅してたら、残るは君たち2人だった。あとは春明さんが。
If the others had all been poisoned as planned, you'd be the only survivors, Haruaki notwithstanding.
もしあなたが狼だったら、とても楽な展開だよね。
If you were a wolf, that would be pretty good for you, right?
僕が母さんにあれをやらせたっていうのか？
Are you suggesting that I convinced Mom to poison everyone?
そうだったら最悪だって思うよ。
That'd be just the worst.
鳥かぶとを香織さんが取ったのは、おそらく朝だよね。それ以外暇はなかったし、ずいぶん早起きだったし。
She probably got the wolf's bane early in the morning. She was too busy otherwise. And it did look like she woke up early.
その時からみんなを殺す気だった。夜の間に吹き込まれたとするなら、話はわかるよね。
By that point, she was already resolved to kill us. It's easy to imagine that someone had given her the idea the previous night.
そんな。でも夜に連絡する手は。
What? But we can't contact anyone at night.
狼は
There's two wolves.
まさか。
What?
香織さんが唯一残った息子のために一人で汚れを被る覚悟で残る人の皆殺しを狙ったなら。
For the sake of her only living son, Kaori was ready to kill everyone, even if it meant being subject to the corruption.
私も人だもん。
But I'm human!
最後に狼と人が残っても投票にならない。春ちゃんは何もできない。
But if you only had the wolves and an alone human at the end, the votes would no longer matter, and Haru would not be able to do anything.
嘘だよね。
No way.
ちゃん。
Brother.
やすくん？
ありえないんだ。
It's impossible.
だって母さんが狼だったら義継が死ぬわけがない。
I mean, if Mom was a wolf, Yoshitsugu wouldn't have died.
あいつを生かすために僕を殺すならありえたかもしれないけど。
She could have killed me to spare him, though.
僕が頼んだって聞いてくれるわけがないだろう。母さんは僕よりあいつの方が好きなんだから。
You think I convinced her to do that? She'd never listen. She loved him way more than me.
知恵ねえ。あんまりよ。兄ちゃんがお母さんにそんなこと言うはずないじゃん。
Chie, this is cruel. There's no way he'd say anything like that to his mom.
別に私はヨシ君が殺されたとは言ってない。彼は単に夜出歩いて汚れを受けただけかもしれない。
Yoshitsugu was the son of of Kaori. He got killed outside on the first night.
それに香織さんは狼じゃなくても息子が狼だって知ったら汚れをいとわず助けるかもしれない。
Also, even if she wasn't a wolf, she'd help her son even if it meant falling victim to the corruption.
そうやって都合のいいことを言って兄ちゃんをどんどん悪者にしようとしてるようにしか見えないわ。
Sounds like you're saying whatever you can to make brother into a bad guy.
どうしちゃったのよ、知恵ねえ。私たちのことはどんな時だって守ってくれてたじゃん。
What's wrong with you, Chie? You used to always protect us. This is night 3.
あの人、
Was it him?
不妻子さんがそうやって言えって。
Did Fusaishi
知恵ねえは変わっちゃったの。
tell you to say that? Did he make you change?
そんなことはないよ。ただあの人の真似をして自分の頭で考えてみただけ。
No, he didn't. I'm just following his example and thinking for myself.
一番信じたくないことだって。それが真実である可能性からは目を背けるべきじゃないって。
Things I don't want to be true could actually be true. And I can't look away from them.
それで思いつきで僕に対して絶縁状と同じ一票を送ろうって言うんだね。
And so you decided to vote against me and ruin our friendship.
だって
I mean,
だってらしくないんだもん。そうやって脅
ヤスくんがさ。
Fuseishi can't be here because he's not part of the town. He's an outsider. Listen to yourself. The Yasu I know would never try to guilt me into submission like this.
私からしたら君だよ。
If you ask me, you're the one who changed.
で、結局どうするのかね。
So who will you vote for?
言ったことには責任を持たなきゃね。私はヤスくんを疑ったから、それをちゃんと形に残すよ。
Yeah, he's the foreigner class. I need to take responsibility for what I said. I suspected Yasu, and I'm sticking to that.
では、オリベ安永に1票だ。
順番がずれましたけど、席順で言えばタイバーが最初でしょう。
We messed up the order, but in terms of seating order, Time was first. How will you vote?
私は香織さんにするわよ。上松様は確かに狼とは思え。
I think the little girl's gonna vote for the guy. I will vote for Kaori. Here's how it's gonna go. Glasses guy is gonna vote for Yasu. Haru's gonna vote for Uematsu. The other guy's gonna vote for Uematsu, and the little girl's gonna vote for Yasu.
あなたはどうします？
What about you, Nosato?
今さらあなたのだ。私の答えは変わらんよ。それどころか、今の芹沢の言葉で気持ちが固まった。
So now you're being respectful. My answer doesn't change. In fact, Serizawa's words made me all the more certain.
オリベ安永、君が狼とは正直、今の態度からは考えづらいが、母親がそうだという可能性は高そうだ。
Yasunaga Oribe, in all honesty, your current attitude makes it hard to believe you are a wolf. But it's likely your mother is. Oh no, they're voting for the mother, which is...
君はどうするのかね。
What about you, Oribe?
変わらず上松里香子さんです。
I'm still voting for Rikako Uematsu.
私も上松里香子に投票するわ。
I'm voting for Rikako Uematsu. See? Told you.
子供は
The child? Bleh.
放棄でいいか。
Can be
待
ignored.
って、メイコちゃん、よく考えて。あなたの票で人の勝ち負けが決まっちゃうかもしれないんだから。
Wait, Meiko, think. Your vote might decide whether the humans win or lose.
知恵ねえ、そこまでするのか。小さい子にデタラメを吹き込んで票を奪おうなんて。
Chie, you'll go that far? You'll trick a child to take her vote?
これしか手がないなら何だってする。メイコちゃん、リカコさんがいなくなったら嫌だよね。
If that's what it takes, I'll do it. Meiko, you don't want Rikako to be gone, right? No.
だったら
Then
無駄だよ。僕に投票させたって3人同率で決着がつかないだけだ。
it's pointless. Even if she votes for me, it'll be a three-way tie.
いらない人選ぶの？
I choose who I don't need?
そうよ。
Yes.
だったら
Then
おばちゃん
I'll go with the
怖かっ
lady.
たから。
She was scary.
それは食堂の女の人かね。
You mean the woman from the dining hall? Mm-hmm.
決まりだ
And
な。
it's decided. No.
冗談だろ。そんないい加減なことで。
This has to be a sick joke. Mom's gonna die because of something like this?
それでも1票は1票だ。
A vote's a vote. I voted.
兄ちゃん、
Brother,
終わった。
it's over. I hear muffled screams and sobs from the dining hall behind me. Gagged and tied, Oribe is still wailing. She couldn't move properly and had a pole fixed to her shoulders. But I was still worried enough to check every now and then. The lack of change helped calm my nerves, but at the same time, I resented myself a bit for it. Quite a bit of time had passed since the feast had begun. What kind of decision would they make? The daily wolf lynching, hanging, had failed every single time so far. Considering the number of days remaining and how many people were left, if they messed up today, the humans would lose all hope of surviving. Either Kaori Oribe or Rikako Uematsu ended up chosen, there would be no chance anymore. Oh no, they're screwed. However, we're going to keep that for next time. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. We're possibly going to stream tomorrow. 90% sure we're going to stream tomorrow. We're going to be doing some Yakuza 5. Tune into that if you're interested. And if not, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.